In the year 2345, Earth had become a thriving center of advanced technology and intergalactic alliances. Humanity had ventured beyond the Milky Way, discovering new life and new civilizations. Most were peaceful, but the Emelors, were not. The Emelors were a ruthless insectoid race from a distant galaxy, driven by the instinct to conquer and dominate. They moved from planet to planet, leaving only ruins. Earth, the last bastion of human civilization, was their next target. On the bridge of the Excalibur, Earth's flagship and most powerful war vessel, Admiral Edward Johnson stood tense. The entire planet's survival rested on his shoulders as he watched the massive Emelor fleet approach, their dark, jagged ships blotting out the stars. Beside him, his first officer, Lieutenant Emil Kowalski, reviewed the tactical readouts with a furrowed brow. "We're outnumbered 50-1, Kowalski muttered. "If they break through this line, it's over." Johnson nodded, with a heavy face. "Then we don't let them break through." His voice was steady. "Prepare all weapons, patch me through to the fleet." The comms crackled, and Johnson's voice boomed through every ship. "This is Captain Johnson of the Excalibur. Today, we fight for Earth. We fight for our homes, for our families. The Emelors will show no mercy, and neither will we. Remember, as long as we stand, Earth will stand. Let's give them hell." The battle began in an instant. Emelor ships swarmed like a plague, their weapons unleashing devastating force. The human fleet responded in kind, unleashing barrages of lasers, torpedoes, railguns, and missiles. Ships exploded on both sides, lighting the cold vacuum of space. But the Emelors were relentless. For every Emelor ship destroyed, more emerged from hyperspace. The human fleet, though technologically advanced, was beginning to falter. Johnson clenched his fists as his tactical display showed gaps forming in their defensive lines. If the Emelors broke through, Earth's surface would be exposed to orbital bombardment. Kowalski's voice was cold. "We need a miracle, Captain. The Emelor command ship is in range, but their shields are way too strong. We can't break them." Johnson's eyes narrowed. "Then we'll have to get creative." He tapped a few commands, bringing up the details of the Emelor command ship, a massive fortress with weapons in every corner, positioned at the heart of their fleet. "That's our target." Kowalski raised an eyebrow. "Don't tell me you are planning to take on the command ship head-on?" Johnson shook his head. "No. We're going inside it." The plan was audacious. The Excalibur would initiate a high-risk warp jump straight into the Emelor command ship's vicinity, bypassing its shields. It was a gamble that could either turn the tide of battle or end in disaster. But there was no other choice in that moment. As the battle raged, Admiral Johnson gave the order. "Prepare for warp jump straight into the Emelor command ship. This is it." Kowalski's face became pale but nodded, fingers flying across his console. "Coordinates locked. This better work, Captain." The Excalibur surged into warp, the stars blurring as they shot toward the command ship. In an instant, the ship materialized inside the heart of the Emelor fleet, deep within the Emelor's command vessel's range. Explosions rocked the command ship as the Excaliburs arrived with its weapons blazing. "Now," Johnson yelled, "target the core." The Excalibur's weapons unleashed everything they had, pounding the command ship's central power core. With a deafening explosion, the core ruptured, sending a chain reaction through the Emelor vessel. The massive ship began to collapse, its shields failing and its control systems going offline. Outside, the Emelor fleet hesitated, confused and disoriented by the sudden loss of their command ship. That hesitation was all the human fleet needed. Earth's defenders pressed the advantage, launching a final, all-out assault. The Emelor ships began to fall, one by one, as the human fleet broke through their formation. But inside the Excalibur, alarms blaring. The ship had taken critical damage from the warp jump and the explosion. Almost half the crew lost their lives or are heavily injured. The ship's systems were failing. Johnson turned to Kowalski, grim resolve in his eyes. "There's no getting out of here, is there?" Kowalski shook his head. "No, sir. We're too deep." Johnson nodded. "Then we finish this. We take them with us." The Admiral ordered all the crew members to evacuate. As the crew got off the ship in pods, the Admiral and his first officer remained in the command deck for the final blow. With the last of their power, the Excalibur drove straight into the core of the Emelor command ship, a final suicide run. The two ships collided in a brilliant explosion that lit up the battlefield, destroying what remained of the Emelor leadership. In the aftermath, the Emelor fleet, leaderless and in disarray, retreated. Earth had won, but the cost was staggering. The human fleet had suffered devastating losses, and the Excalibur was gone, so as the Admiral, his first officer, and a lot of other crew. As the wreckage of the battle drifted in space, the people of Earth knew this was only the beginning. The Emelors would be back. But they also knew that as long as there were heroes like Captain Johnson, humanity would endure.